But eventually you're going to have to jump into the real world out there, and there's going to be things out there that are not pleasant. Okay, I don't mean to scare you, but I just want to prepare you. The better you're prepared to deal with that nonsense out there, the more successful you're going to be. And there's a lot of nonsense out there. Trust me, we've been through it. I've been through it. I know what's out there. There's beauty in this world, unbelievable, but there's also people and situations that are not on your side, and you need to be able to deal with that stuff. All right? And we'll try to teach you in some way how to deal with the nonsense that goes on up there in the real world. Okay? And obviously getting a job is important because when you're doing the work that you want to do, you're earning money and you're feeling good about yourself when you have the job that you want. And most people do not have the job that they want for themselves. Okay? So, other things that you guys want me to talk about? Are you understanding me? Are you? Yes. All right. Are you? I'm going to give you a lot of reality, by the way. And I don't know. Some of you are pretty young. We have a lot of teenagers here, right? And I don't want to scare anybody, you know. But my goal is to give you reality here, and. Because sometimes your parents don't like talking about these things, all right? But we'll talk about things that you need to know. But remember, a lot of stuff is my opinion. And opinions are not always facts, okay? I have opinions about what you should be doing. But you don't have to listen to me. In fact, you can question everything I say. Anything I say, you should say, wait a second. All right? You can question me. You can challenge me. You can debate me. And maybe you win. All right? Maybe I learn from you. All right? So, let's just try to work together. And if you have a problem with anything I'm saying, if you don't understand something I'm saying, then talk to me about it. Communicate with me. That's what I want. I want you guys, if you're uncertain or confused, to say, wait a second, can you explain that better? Can you tell me more about that? Okay, and I will. I will give you an honest answer. And it may not be the answer that you want, but it's the answer that I believe is the truth. And that's another thing we have to do, is accept the reality of this world. And it's not always easy. Okay, getting a job, all right? Would you guys like to talk about that? Talk about interviewing, job interview. All right?
Okay.
All right. And basically what I'm going to do is, I have a really long slideshow here, where we're not going to be able to get to it all. In fact, just pieces of it. Since so many of you probably are not in a position of getting a job now, okay? You could have a job as a waiter if you wanted to, serving drinks to people.
And I wasn't a waiter.
You were a waiter?
Yeah.
Congratulations. Okay.
I was a barkeeper.
You were a barkeeper?
Yeah.
Are you still a barkeeper?
No, I mean not the keeper. I mean not the owner, but the barman. I mean,
All right. I'd like to get to know you better.
I was.
Are you still?
I was.
You were.
Yeah,
Oh, then I don't need it. I need somebody now. I need somebody now. Is anybody here? I'm just joking. Okay. Okay.
So
So,
if we have got the waiter, the barman, we can make the company.
all right.
Yeah.
Good. Well, you guys start a business together. Okay. I'll be your #1 customer at the
That's part
bar.
of my.
Okay. The thing about a job, let me just throw it out. What are some very essential concepts in finding a job? Yeah. Did you have your hand up? No. What are some important concepts in finding a job?
Skills.
All right, skills. Right, you have to have the skills for a job, okay? And what?
Not just
Persistence.
All right, persistence. Well, first of all, if you're applying for a job,
You should write your CV
all right, you need a CV. How do you write a CV?
yourself.
I can write your CV. A CV, what is a CV? It stands for what? Curriculum vitae, right? What's another word for CV?
Resume.
Resume. Okay? So resume usually should be one page. Should have a picture of yourself on the top right corner. Should have your name, your address, your birth date, your email contact, and what else should a CV have?
Short information.
What?
What you said.
Basic information.
Basic, well, what is the basic information they're looking for in a CV?
Professional skills first.
Professional
Education.
skills and
Education.
educational skills. So those are the two things. Now, some people list education first, some people list jobs first. You should list things in chronological order. The best CVs start with your current job experiences, and you don't want to list a lot of them. And if you only work for a company for a short period of time, maybe better not to put it down. Because they don't like to see that you worked this company for 2 weeks or this company for 3 months. They like to see a CV where you've been in a company for a few years. But for you guys, it's problematic because most of you, when you work a job, it's for the summer. So they want job experiences, but they don't want to see you bouncing from one job to the next. Okay? And then education, you want to list your highest degree first. And for most of you, that could be a high school degree, it could be a college degree, it could be a master's degree, okay, or a PhD. Okay? And then maybe at the end of the first page of your CV should be what?
You could put some hobbies in your CV as well.
Yeah, you want to put hobbies down. Yeah, you want to put hobbies that make
Extra
sense.
skills.
What?
Some extra skills.
Yeah, extra.
Language skills.
Yeah, language skills or computer skills, or that you have a driver's license.
Some personal information.
Yeah, but you have personal information about your family. Okay. My advice is to make your CV one page. All right, one page, and no, sorry. I should. Can I answer this call?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, Gerald, I'm right in the middle of a class, Gerald. Can you call me back in about 2 hours? All right. Yeah, call me after 8 o'clock, okay?
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Okay, that was Gerald. That's a funny story with Gerald, but I won't tell you. Okay. What?
Why you want to tell us a funny story about?
I will, you guys, because, well, I could tell you, but, okay. All right. I guess I didn't order anything. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm okay with anything. I'm juice or whatever you should. All right. It doesn't matter. All right, you guys. Anybody order whiskey? You might need it to get through my class. Okay. All right, that's very good. I like that. Okay.
Is that challenge?
Yeah, it's. All right, you guys. So.
Do you have extra orange juice?
It's good for you. All right, people. Is everybody satisfied? Everybody happy?
Yeah.
All right, everybody's doing okay here? All right. If nobody else wants it, I will. Okay, all right, you guys. All right. You guys, I'm just going to throw the question out to the group. What are some other important concepts in job interviewing? Just your own ideas. Remember, you want the job, you believe that you can do the job, you've read the job description, and it's really important that if you are applying for a job, that you know that you can do the job. all right? If there was a job for a Russian teacher, I would not apply for it, okay? Because I can't speak Russian, okay? It would be insane for me to do that, all right? So you apply for a job that suits your or matches your qualifications and your experiences, okay? What are some other concepts related to having a successful job interview?
Know what you need from your job.
All right, know what is required, the requirements. And we call it a job description. And what you probably should do is read the job description very well. Because what they're going to be looking for is, can you do the job? They're going to be asking you specific questions like, why should we hire you? Why should we hire you? So for example, is there a job that you would like? Is there a job you would like?
Yeah.
Doing what?
Teaching.
Teaching English?
Maybe.
All right, well, why should I hire you as an English teacher? Why should I hire you and not you? Why should I hire you? Because...
I'm perfect.
Well, you guys, first of all, I would probably avoid the word perfect because nobody's perfect. Okay, but I would...
Joke.
Well, except Arthur and you, okay? As I said. Okay. What you should do is say, look, well, how would we answer that question? Why should I hire you?
Because I'm the best for the
No,
job.
you should.
I have some specific skills
That you need.
versus
All right, I think that's
some experience.
right. You want to mention your experience, what experiences that you have certain skills that would allow you to do the job better than somebody else. Remember, when you're applying for a job, you want to bring out your strengths. You want to show your strengths, and you kind of want to hide some of your weaknesses. We do that when we meet people for the first time. If you go on a date with somebody, for example, if you meet a girl for the first time, you're not going to tell her all your bad habits, right?
Your friends will tell her.
Well, you want to keep your friends out of it. The second, you guys, by the way, they are going to ask you a question. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses?
No.
How do you answer that question?
Nobody is asking you what are your weaknesses.
They do.
Yes.
Not on a date, not on a date. They'll figure that out. They'll figure your weaknesses
You should
out.
answer
What?
your weaknesses.
You should
that
be
may be
honest.
good features from the
Yes,
society.
I'm a hard worker.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
work
we're-
too much.
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
know, some companies, believe it or not, well, first of all, they might not believe that answer. They might not believe that answer, all right? But another reason they might not like that answer is because people who work too hard, they oftentimes get burned out. And burned out means after 1 or 2 years in the job, they are exhausted. And when you burn out, you're no good for the company. And so companies like people who work hard, but not too hard. Okay, believe it or not. Because people who work too hard end up having problems with their family, or they lose their health. So you want to tell them you can do the job. They will ask you, by the way, about how you deal with stress, how you cope with stress, and how do you cope with stress. And I don't know your names, I'm sorry, but how do you cope with stress? How do you deal with stress?
I'm watching a lot of films, movies,
Okay,
which give me some inspiration.
all right. Give me a movie. Now, they may ask you what your favorite movie is. What's your favorite movie?
V for Vendetta, and also
What is it?
V for Vendetta.
V for Vendetta.
Yes, with Natalie Portman.
Okay.
It's very good film
And why is it a good film?
because it's very
Famous actor.
smart and
Intelligent?
intelligent. Yes, and it is about the importance of one person and what one person can do for the whole country and for all world.
Okay. Well, that Okay, so that would suggest, when you mention that film, that you believe that it's important to do things for other people, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, another question they might ask is how you get along with your coworkers. Your coworkers. And has anybody here had a problem with a coworker?
What does it mean coworker?
Coworker would be colleague,
Oh,
or somebody that works in your office. They will ask you how you get along with people. But before I go on to that question, just remember, they are going to ask you, they might ask you a question about how you deal with stress. What do you do when you come home? Because the company wants to make sure that when you go home, that you take care of yourself. All right? That you relax. That you can come to work the next day and feel energized so that you can do your work. Okay? And workers who do not do that end up missing a lot of work. And your company is going to want you to stay healthy. So they may ask you, how do you stay healthy? Okay? All right? What about coworkers? Are they going to ask you how you get along with people?
But it depends on the work requirement,
Right.
because if you are on the core workers run some big company of thousands of people, it's gonna be a hard question.
Yeah, you know, the thing is that if you're working, let's say, in the IT sphere, where you're just working on a computer, that might not be a question that they would always ask, how you get along with your coworkers, because you may be very isolated. You might not have a lot of interaction.
It could be better
Could I
question.
interrupt you about
Yeah.
IT sphere? I think it's not right because in IT sphere actually they work in teams.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
very important to cooperate in teams correctly.
Yeah, and I was going to get to that yeah, even in some IT spheres, you're going to be in a team. You're going to be in a unit.
And probably they pay even
Yeah.
more, a lot of attention to this cooperation, and usually very often the question which is asked on the interviews is also, are you a conflict person? Because a conflict person couldn't cooperate with the other people correctly.
Okay, and right, well, they're going to ask you how you deal with conflicts. And I can remember in one IT company in Kiev, I was asked to come in and try to create a team. Everybody was doing their own thing. Every worker was just focused on their job, and they wouldn't share their information with other people. And that was a problem. Let's say that Sergey develops a really good idea, and maybe there's Andre next to him. Now, the company wants Sergey to share the information with Andre, so Andre can also be a better worker. But maybe Sergey is thinking, well, if I share this information with Andre, then that makes me weaker and makes him stronger. The company doesn't want to hear that. They want people that are good team players. Okay? In some jobs, it's extremely important to be a team player. Okay? In most jobs, you are going to be working in a unit. You're going to have a supervisor, and there's going to be, I don't know, 5 to 10 to 15 people in your unit. And you need to be able to get along with these people. And you need to be able to work with them in projects. Okay? And if you don't, they may look for somebody else. Okay? So they're going to ask you, are you a team player? Now, what is another very important relationship in a company? Is your relationship with who?
Boss.
The boss. So what would be a question that they might ask? Describe your ideal boss. Describe a perfect boss for you. And what you shouldn't say, well, it's you. You're my perfect boss, okay?
Perfect boss is boss you don't communicate with alone.
Yeah, well, you know, there are what we call hands-on bosses and hands-off bosses. Micromanagers and macromanagers. A micromanaging boss likes to know everything that's going on. And we would call that a hands-on supervisor. There are other bosses that are hands-off. They just tell you, get the job done. I don't care how you do it, just get the job done. Now, I think you would like a boss like that, right? Yeah, just get the job done and, you know, if you need help, you can talk with me. But not all bosses are like that. So they're gonna ask you to describe the perfect boss. Does anybody want to describe the perfect boss? You have a good boss?
I do.
Remember, this is being is this being filmed?
Yes.
All right, then you're on film, so, okay. Describe your perfect boss. What does he look like?
I think that the important thing for boss is
Yeah,
not to put lots of emotions into problems, because sometimes you taking something too close to your heart, and that makes problem bigger actually. So not my ideal boss is not the machine who is without emotions, but to be a little bit more, not so, you know, it's not weakness, but not to take everything too close to the heart.
Okay.
That's my idea.
and I think what you're describing is what we call leadership.
Mm-hmm.
A boss who's a good leader is able to stay calm under pressure. They're able to think more clearly. Because once a person gets angry, once a boss gets angry, they say a lot of stupid things. Anger is a stupid emotion. It's the stupidest emotion because we don't think well when we're angry. And so a good boss should remain somewhat calm, and that gives them a better chance to make good decisions.
It's not only about anger, it's also about if somebody of the team made, for example, wrong step, so
Mhm.
that's not your personal minus or your personal drawback, but the minus of the team. So not to take somebody's failure as his or her own like that.
Okay, do you guys all understand that?
Yeah.
You know, where the boss isn't blaming you for a particular failure or criticizing you. Or if they do criticize you, they do it in a way that's fair and humane, and that actually makes you a better worker than makes you more insecure, okay? But that might be a question that comes up. Describe a good boss. Describe good working conditions, okay? What are some other questions that may come up in a job interview? Some of you maybe have not been to a lot of job interviews.
How do you feel yourself in this company in a few years?
Right, that's a good one. It might be, where do you see yourself in 3 years, or 5 years, or 10 years? And what would be a pretty good answer for that question?
To answer, to ask where the company sees yourself in 3 years, in the same year's time.
Okay, so you're going to do sort of a rhetorical question back
Yes.
to them?
Yeah,
You know, you can ask questions, but I think if they ask you a question,
be-
like, where do you see yourself in 3 years?
like yourself in our company.
Well, they're going to be a little bit more vague. They're going to say, where do you see yourself in 3 years or 5 years? Now, they're not going to say our company. They're going to say, where do you think you'll be in 3 or 5 years? What would be a good answer?
Depends.
Well, what do you think they want to hear? And this is one of the things that you need to know in job interviewing is it's probably a pretty good idea to give them the answer that they want. All right?
Because
All right.
it's his job.
Right. Now, that means, are you going to be totally honest with them? But what would be your answer? I own a company, and I'm asking you, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I don't know, maybe I just need to answer some information for my employee, maybe what he needs from me, from this answer. It depends on the situation, or it depends on the person who asked me.
But think about me. I'm the
Ah,
boss.
ah.
I'm asking you that question. I want you to answer it in a specific way. You have to figure out what I want to hear from you. And what do I want to hear from you? I am going to spend a lot of money training you. I'm going to spend a lot of money training you. Do I want to see you take all the information that I gave you and take it to another company? Do I want to see that, or do I want to say, I'm giving you this information so you will stay in my company and help make my company better? So what would be a good answer?
Like, I would like to grow in your company.
Grow, that's a good word. I'd like to grow in your company.
With you, as a
Okay,
company,
right,
to go to the highest top.
all right. But you don't want to take my job, okay? Don't say, I want to take your job, okay? That's the way you want to do
Maybe
it.
you
Yeah.
just need to answer. I would like to develop your company yourself and.
Okay, develop, I want to
with
help.
teamwork, yeah.
Right. Now, they're going to probably say, then how do you propose to do that? How can you make our company grow? What can you do to help my company grow? This is our company now. What are you going to be able to do to make our company grow? Tell me. I need to know.
It's clear question about some special.
You got to answer it. Come on. You know, what can you do for me?
Actually,
I run an English school.
No.
I run an English school. I need to know what you can do to help me. Because there's other people that want this job. I'm talking to you now. Why should I hire you? What can you do for me now?
What's his position?
Uh,
What's your company?
let's say you're going to be an English teacher, just recruiting and maybe helping our company grow in some ways. Can you give me, yeah,
New students.
what?
Find new students.
All right, thank you. Find new business, okay? Or, you know, keep the students that we have, okay? But I think that is a general question that any company, when they hire somebody, keeping in mind that it's a big investment for that company. And if you hire the wrong person, if I hire you and not you, and you don't do a very good job, I lose. If I hire him, I win. All right? But I'm not saying that. I don't know that. I don't know who to hire. But you've got to convince me that I should hire you and not this guy. All right? Yeah. All right. Okay. Now, again, these are all questions that are going to come up. All right? Other questions that will come up in job interviews.
The hardest one is how much do you want to earn? Like, what is your what salary would you like to have?
All right.
That's the hardest one in the interviews.
Right, and does anybody know how to answer the question? Because they will ask you that question.
Ask you about write down some amount of money what you want to earn from in this company.
Yeah, they might actually have you write it down on a
Yeah,
piece of
yeah,
paper.
yeah.
You know, where you just give them a piece of paper with a certain amount written down on it, okay? And make sure that if they ask you how much to earn, you put it in hryvnia, not dollars, or dollars, not hryvnia, okay? If you put it in dollars, they may say, hey, they may think it's hryvnia, all right? So, you know what I'm saying? I made that mistake once, okay? So, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Make sure you specify. But what are certain ways you can answer that question? What are your salary expectations?
I would answer the salary I deserve to have.
Oh.
Yeah. But
Bad idea.
that's a little bit vague. That's a little bit vague. And by the way, when you get to that question, you should yourself